What's going on, Pizza Fam? Listen, I just wanted to set this episode up a little bit because it's a little bit different from what we normally do. We had two guests on this time, and one of them is a vendor, and the other is her client. Talked to Leslie Benson from Restaurant 365. I met her at the Florida Restaurant Show, and we kind of been talking on LinkedIn. And she wanted to come on and come on the podcast and introduce Restaurant 365 and what they do and how they support restaurants. But both of us thought it would be a good idea to do that alongside one of her clients that's actually got the product in motion and in action and is seeing real impact from it. So she asked her client Nick Eberhart from Agliolio down in Boynton Beach in Wellington. He's got 3 locations down there, just to come on and share his experience. And it turned into a really good conversation, good episode. And I wanted to make sure I set that up because, listen, we all know we're busy. We're running our shops. We see these things. We see the ads or we see the products during our course of business. And we wonder, like, how can that actually work for me here? What's the implementation like? Or how did they set it up? Or, how are they using it? What impact did it make? And, all of that. So we dove into all of those questions. We talked about the implementation. We talked about just the impact on team and leadership and how it's been able to free up so much time for Nick. So really good episode, but I wanted to make sure I set it up for you because it was fun for me to kind of interview two different people at the same time. But I wanted to make sure that I set the stage for that because this is a product that is out there making impact in restaurants. And I'm sure you heard of it. There's lots of other tools that are similar to it, but I really respect her being able to come on and really talk about, what it does and bringing in one of her clients. And listen, I try to ask the questions that every operator would ask. And if you have more questions, you can certainly reach out to Leslie. She's going to drop her phone number. I'll put her email and phone number in the show notes, but enjoy it. Restaurant 365 with Agliolio Pizza, pizza and Italian. They do a full menu down in Boynton Beach in Wellington. Enjoy the episode. Pizza King Podcast. Let's go. There we go. Welcome back to the Pizza King Podcast. I'm the host, Tyrell Reed, and joined today by 2 special guests. That's different for us. 2 special guests. I got Leslie from Restaurant 365, and I got Nick from Agliolio Italian. You have to say Italian family restaurant. Who is it? Tell me the whole name.
It's Agliolio Italian Bistro and Bar.
Italian Bistro and Bar down in South Florida. Just appreciate both of you guys for coming on to join us and talk about what you guys have been doing in the business. Leslie, tell us who you are and what you do.
Yeah, thanks so much for having us. So I'm Leslie Benson. I'm from Restaurant 365. My official title is account executive, but I always like to joke that I'm a restaurant therapist because what I do basically is listen to operators and owners all day and listen to what they're dealing with, the challenges that they're facing, and then, try to help them manage all in one place. So first of all, we're obsessed with restaurants. We're all about good food. And we want to help owners manage their restaurant all in one place. So, inventory, invoices, scheduling, all of the things, that can become overwhelming, honestly. And you're already in the trenches. So, we just want to make that a little bit easier.
Heard that, restaurant therapist. I just had this vision of like on the little couch telling you all my problems and the list never ends. Well, we
I
also
love
have
it.
we also have Nick. Nick, tell us about what you got going.
So my name's Nick Eberhart. I've been in the restaurant business for 16 years now. We're a family-owned Italian restaurant. We are homegrown as it comes and a family operation. It started with my mother and father-in-law back in 2009. I'm currently the CFO, and we have 3 locations, and we keep ourselves busy.
3 locations is plenty busy, and you guys are serving. So it's restaurant and bistro. So you're doing way more than pizza. From looking at the menu, you guys are doing like some really intricate dishes there.
Yeah. Our whole menu is built on the premise of create your own. So you come in and you tell us what you want, and we just say okay, and we make it happen.
What? How does that ever get out of hand?
It used to, but it's a cultural thing now. So like no request is too strange anymore. Like it comes in and We make every dish to order every time, like nothing's pre-made. So any little nuance, you want this without this, it's just you just go with the flow and just okay.
Nice. So your in-law started this business back in 2009. How can you tell me the path that took you from son-in-law to CFO?
So at first I said I never wanted to work in a restaurant, that I would never do it. And I married into it, started out serving, started my way up from the bottom. I've done every job in the restaurant, from dishwasher. I've worked the line, I've managed. And just over the years, I've just worked my way up. And my transition into CFO really started when I was managing, just looking at invoices every day as the invoices would come in. And you have that downtime to really go line by line and just look, and something ain't right. And that was where I kind of catapulted into the world of finance and managing that on a daily basis.
Started with identifying problems first, right?
Yep.
It sounds like it. And Leslie, you said you consider yourself to be restaurant therapist. What's the most common thing you're hearing from operators out there?
Gosh, it depends. I mean, right now, food costs, nailing down food costs and trying to understand the numbers, honestly. And, when things fluctuate and you're ordering from different vendors, it can be a lot of Excel spreadsheets or, chasing the numbers to try to just figure out where you're at.
And we'll talk about what 365 is and how you guys solve some of those problems, but I'd like to know a little bit more about how you decided to get into a role like that, because there's sales and then there's restaurant sales. And I mean, I'm as an operator, as a former restaurant owner, we just sold our pizzeria in the summer, turned down a lot. You know what I mean? It was always, no, that's not right for us. It's not the right time. Or I just couldn't get over the hump of figuring out how to make that change. What's it like day to day, dealing with that?
Yeah, so well, a little bit about myself. My background is in education and hospitality. And so I've always been kind of obsessed with restaurants and learning everyone's story. And it's something beautiful when people come together and cook for you. And, it's really a story, right? Everybody starts with a story and an idea and inspiration. And the people that I'm working with every day are so passionate. And it's exciting. I wouldn't consider myself like a salesperson. I would consider myself a helper, somebody who helps solve problems and gives them a tool to really help them on their level, like wherever you're at, because it's modular and there's so many different things that we do. We can help the one, that's getting just started, that's pre-open, or we can help you if you have 50 restaurants and have disjointed tools.
Love that. And it takes people that are passionate about it to really solve the problems, in my opinion. Nick, when you were in those early days and you were, sifting through invoices and you were finding all of the, like, what were some of the biggest leaks that you found in the boat?
So we were one purveyor heavy, and there wasn't much competition. It was 90% of one purveyor, and we just ordered from them because that's what we had always done. And it was bringing in that competition. I mean, for example, our calamari, for example, went up 50% in over 6 months. And it was just looking at the end and just realizing, we believe there's a relationship that has to be built for everybody to be happy. Like, I want my vendors to make money, I want to make money, but I also want to be value oriented for my customers. So we can't just keep. So there's that happy median where, no, I'm not trying to buy everything at cost or below. Like, you got to make a little bit of money. Everybody's got to eat. It's got to be fair.
And without competition, you're kind of held over a barrel, right? That
Exactly.
you buy whatever they're selling.
Exactly.
That's so. I came from the franchise world, and we never had a choice. It was to an extent, you still do what you can. We had to shop like 80% from the supplier, but you go out and you start seeing that, wow, there are people that are actually buying this way cheaper than what I'm getting it. Why? Sometimes it's just about asking the question, right? Just saying, why is this happening? And then all of a sudden it can change. What were some of the, so I'm guessing that in the early days you were doing a lot on your own, which is, obviously what's leading us to this conversation here today. You were doing a lot on your own and you needed to make some change. Like, how did you decide that technology was the way to go when it comes to just operating?
So it did start with spreadsheets.
Yeah.
Every week creating a spreadsheet, looking up prices, and figuring out who to order from. And we like to be a very technology forward company. You got to embrace it. There's so much out there and so much that can help you do what you do. And we used to use QuickBooks, and that's archaic.
Yeah.
Nowadays for you're breaking down every invoice line by, and it got out of hand. It was hours and hours of work with there's no ROI on that.
Yeah.
It's just
And
paperwork.
just to jump in, like QuickBooks is a great tool, but the biggest difference between QuickBooks and Restaurant 365 is that we're restaurant specific.
Right.
And we're connecting to your POS, we're connecting to your vendors, and we're connecting to your bank. And we're a restaurant specific accounting platform that also offers, everything else. And it talks to it. It talks to itself and it gets smarter.
Leslie, what advice would you give someone that's probably doesn't even know they have a problem at this point or know that they need a tool like this? How do you advise someone who's, probably thinks they're okay?
They probably are okay, but why not be better than okay? Why not, explore your options, do some research and see where you can save yourself time, your team time, and get them back where you want them. You don't want your managers in the back office digging through numbers and creating spreadsheets. Like that's a lot of time that we're saving people. And it allows them to one, get back out on the floor and focus on the hospitality. And also it allows from the overhead view of looking at data, it gives you points where you can improve everything, like improve, where you're at and get really specific and a little bit nitty gritty with, where the holes are.
Yeah. Well, and just listening to Nick's story, I imagine as you were spending that time building these spreadsheets and going through invoices and defining the early functions of your role, you probably still had other work that you needed to do too, right? Like
Yeah, there's
you need to
always
be on the floor.
there's always a list. There's always something going on. And it's 365 for us has really revolutionized how we get information and how we act on information. It's taken everything, put it in one nice little box. And one great feature that I love is, every month we're running the A versus T, the actual versus theoretical. And the day after I do inventory, I can click down and drill down and figure out exactly where our problems happen.
That's pretty,
Proactive rather
yeah,
than reactive. I
that's
love
pretty
it.
powerful. That's pretty powerful because I imagine, well, not I imagine, I know for a fact a lot of folks are just waiting on a financial statement from an accountant that 2 weeks after the month ends and you have no time to react.
Right. No, it's too late. You're out hundreds of dollars already.
It's already gone. So faster reaction time, you can actually make change that makes a difference in real time. That's pretty cool. What looking at, I guess that's really a huge win. I'm just looking at what you were doing then versus how you see things now. Are there any wins that you would say stand out more than others, even beyond inventory?
So we've been able to eliminate hours for scheduling, which
Nice.
has been huge, because there is this it's called smart labor, I believe, off the top of my head. I'm trying to remember the exact phrase, but it helps predict sales by hour. And we know what's our sales per labor hour number. So it really helps us grind down and get to the right staff and make sure we're giving the highest quality service possible. We want to maximize server sales. We want to maximize kitchen productivity and really just be as lean as possible and efficient as possible, because no one's happy when you're overstaffed and no one's happy when you're understaffed. So it really helps trim things down and get that number right so that everyone's happy.
Leslie, is this a tool that owners and teams can use, or is it strictly for senior management and folks that are at the top of an organization?
No, I know your whole team can use it and it's all permission based. So exactly what each role needs to see and view and work with, they're able to use it in that way.
And I know just from looking at the website and kind of doing a little bit of research on it, there are a lot of components to it. Is it overwhelming for folks to bring this in? And how
It
do well,
can
let's say
probably
how
feel a little overwhelming, but I think that goes into, meeting owners where they're at and focusing on what the problem is that needs to be solved first, and then rolling out other things in the future as they solve that problem. There's always, the build. So if your inventory, you're just thinking about, okay, I need a system for that. Start with that, and then if it's accounting that you're concerned about, start with the accounting piece, and then you can turn on the features as you set up. But I really do give a lot of credit to our implementation team. They're fabulous. We don't just say, here you go, here's a great tool, good luck. It is 90 to 100 days of implementation, and working with an accounting coach, an operations coach, who are very well versed and very experienced in the restaurant industry. They're all, operators and accountants that worked in restaurants previously, and coaching you and helping get started.
that well Nick, I saw you kind of perk up when I said, was it overwhelming? What was it like when you decided that, all right, we're gonna do this, we're going in?
So it's definitely putting it together makes you a better operator because you have to build every recipe. You've got to know your units of measure. You've got to know that what you're buying and how you're buying it. And it makes you a better operator because you've got to get all that knowledge, and you don't know what you don't know until you find out you don't know it.
So
Yeah.
you end up learning a lot about your business just from the process of implementing a tool like this.
Exactly.
So like we
Yeah,
we
and
weren't.
we can be honest, like making that change is never easy. And to be frank, it sucks, right? Like it's a huge transition, but then the results afterwards are priceless.
Yeah, I'm sure you probably get people who have tried other solutions, and we don't need to mention any of the other companies, but I'm sure you got people who tried other solutions, got frustrated with the process, said forget it, and now they're like, no, don't. I can't even have this conversation right now. What's that like from your standpoint?
Yeah, I hear it all the time, and I call it burnout. You've been burned, you're burnt out, you're not going to trust, Leslie from Restaurant 365. It's like, okay, just another one. And, it seems promising, but then it doesn't work out. And really just understanding where that person is coming from, and building that trust and building the relationship, and then introducing them to, our coaches, and saying, hey, look, this is going to be the same person that's with you each week, helping you implement. And we're not going to, we're going to be honest. It is going to be a lift. And here's exactly what we're going to expect from you as well. And if it's not a good time, then let's wait and make sure that you can commit to it.
Yeah, Nick, I imagine you probably shopped around a little bit before you decided that 365 was the right way to go for you. Ultimately, what made you decide to go with Restaurant 365?
So we shopped around, we looked at everybody because it was like we knew it was going to be painful, because you got your historical data, and we just knew it was going to be a lot. And when we found 365 and we did the not training but the pitch, if you will, and learning about it, and they struck us as a company that was going to be moving with us and a company that was constantly moving forward. And they've proven that over the years, where they're constantly doing upgrades and they're making changes and they're listening to feedback and changing as things change. They're adaptive is the best way to describe it. But for the implementation piece, they broke it up into bite-sized pieces that made it really, really easy to get through. It was like, all right, you've got homework, but you got a week to do it. If you run into a problem, reach out. But it was just bites, like how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. You just gotta just just keep going.
Just take the next step. How has having a tool like this changed how you lead, your team? Because, if you start to free up time, you start to free up, access to you. What has that done for your leadership?
It's made me more available. I get to spend more time in the stores. I try to go to 2 to 3 stores a day. I try to hit every store every day.
Every store, every day.
Every store, every day. Because you can't, yesterday morning, for example, I went to one of my stores and one of my line guys is like, hey, this broke and I need a new one. If I'm not there,
You
he
know,
can't
yeah,
communicate that. And the managers get busy and sometimes they forget or they forget to write stuff down. But I've got a relationship with my whole staff that they're all comfortable, sending me that text message or confronting me in person and saying, hey, we need this, or, it just makes me more available for them, which is huge.
absolutely. Yeah, I think that face to face time is where you really make a difference. And we heard Leslie say that this is something that is permission based. So, is this a tool that you use with your management team as well? Do they use 365?
Oh, yeah. So everybody, my entire staff uses 365. Servers, greeters, bussers, they all, that's how they access their schedule. All their scheduling's in 365. They can trade shifts, give up shifts, all in the app, which is, a great tool for them. Like, man, I got scheduled Wednesday, but I got something else to do. They can offer up their shift and somebody can pick it up and a manager can approve that transition right from their phone and not have to necessarily be at a computer. We can send push notifications out, which is, when we made dress code changes or things like that. It's able to just it's great to just be able to push a notification out to every employee. The managers are in 365 every day, approving invoices, looking at the previous day's sales, the previous day's labor. Everybody uses it.
So, I mean, I hadn't even thought about the benefits of having a tool to communicate too.
Yeah.
That's pretty huge. It sounds like you guys took all of the tools that restaurants use and just packaged it all up into one platform and said let's make this easy for you. What's
Yeah.
from your side, Leslie, and the operators that you talk to, which one is the most beneficial, or what's the favorite? I should say, who's the favorite child? Like, which component is the favorite?
Goodness.
The
I
question
think
no parent
honestly
should
it's
ever
like
answer.
yeah. Um I mean the operations and the accounting together. So pulling it all of that data all together and creating those like automated journal entries and reducing, I mean, just reducing the food costs and the labor costs and, you know, giving you that full view, that full visibility and the tool to encourage and motivate your staff as well. And something we haven't mentioned yet is like the employee training. And that's something that wasn't proprietary, but we bought ExpandShare about a year and a half ago. And it's, another great piece to Restaurant 365 now. And I know
Training,
Nick uses that
reporting,
too. And maybe you could,
communication. Jeez, Nick, is that you use the training tool as well?
Yeah, I use ExpandShare. It's a great tool. The staff gets it right away as soon as they get hired. They get access to ExpandShare. All of our training is in there. We've got there's videos, there's tests to make sure that they're getting the information that they need to out of the training. And my favorite tool, the most amazing blessing that ExpandShare offers, is a ServeSafe course. It's not it's not ServeSafe exactly. It's another brand, but it's built right into the training, and you know that every employee you have is current, and it was such a nightmare to try to manage before, but now it's so streamlined and amazing.
You sold me on that, because chasing food handler certificates and trying to get people trained up, or we used to have a guy that would come in and do it, or we buy the books from him, and like
Yep.
all of it was a nightmare.
Yeah.
All of it was a nightmare. So you got it all right there packaged into, and I'm guessing there's like they get access, or they get an app on their phone that they can download. And so during the onboarding process, what about like ongoing training, or if someone's getting promoted, or we're talking about taking the next steps into management? Have you worked all of that into it as well?
So we've got like user guides
Okay.
that I've built over time, like on very specific task related items that managers use. But so from the regular employees, the servers, the kitchen, The app that they're using is so intuitive and so user friendly that there's not much training that needs to go into it at all. For the management side, approving invoices, doing other aspects of their job, we train them, but the support center in 365 is great too. If you want to know how to do something, you just type it in the search box and everything related to it pops up. You click and you're good to go.
And I'm guessing there's probably like daily things too, like daily checklist or, all of those little things that matter day to day in the restaurant.
Well, one thing we're big on is they have a manager log function where you can make shift notes about things that happened the night before, anything that may have come up. And every morning we get an emailed report, sales, labor, cash over short, and then it attaches the manager log to that report. And that report goes out to all the managers and myself and my wife and my father-in-law, and we all get that report every morning. And it's great to have a heartbeat on every location and to know what's going on in every location. Like, hey, this cooler went down, but I called the repair company already. So when we get there, we know what's going on.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Nick's
Leslie,
about to get hired.
yeah, he's selling it right now. So as you guys, constantly evolve as a company, and like you said, you just picked up the training add-on last year or a year and a half ago. What's it like when you have to roll out something to your already existing basic customers?
It's exciting, I think. It's like, look at this cool thing that we have to help you even more. And with the training piece and the ongoing, just to kind of like you said something earlier about ongoing training, and something that I see a lot is with menus that change, that video of how to make that dish or that video of how to make that new drink. You're not redoing it over and over again or just explaining it. You can make the video. You can see everybody who's watched the video because you get analytics on that, and assign it and say, if there's a new drink that all the bartenders need to know how to make, the one, make the video, and you're not remaking that drink, 5, 6, 7, 10, 20 times.
One of the things that I heard you guys kind of allude to earlier was it's not just reporting, it's reporting that comes with actionable insights and advice to help you actually do stuff with it. Because I think the last thing a restaurant owner or operator wants is, data overload, right? They a bunch of numbers you really can't do much with. What does that look like, kind of week to week, month to month in action?
So I can tell you how we use it and where
Please.
it comes up. So at the most basic level, an invoice comes in and it all comes in electronically. So there's nothing to manually input. It comes straight from the vendor. At the most basic level, there's an all white page and there'll be an orange line if there's a variance that's off. That says from the last time you purchased this there's a variance here that's greater than acceptable. So that triggers the managers right away to go, hey, wait a minute, why did I overpay for this? What's going on? So that starts on day one. And then every time you run a report, there's always a drill down feature where you just look at a number, and if the number doesn't look right or your variance is way off, you just open it up and it shows you, hey, you're missing 40 pounds of chicken. Well, here's what I bought. Here's what I theoretically used. Why is my ending inventory off? Well, they go back in the walk-in, they miscounted chicken when they were doing inventory. Or, it's walking out the back door, or we're throwing it away. But it's not overwhelming because the way it's structured. Everything, look at as much information as you want at whatever level you want. If you want to look down to each individual, I always say, if I'm missing granulated garlic, that's in hundreds of items and I'll never find where that granulated garlic is going.
Yeah.
But if I'm looking for my canned tomatoes and I'm missing canned tomatoes and I'm missing granulated garlic, okay, that helps me narrow it down to something else.
Makes
it
sense.
Helps me get more focused. We focus on the bigger ticket items rather than the smaller ones.
I like it. Leslie, Nick's got 3 stores, pretty, that's a big operation. How does this work for the single unit operator? Is it too big for them, or is it right size based on wherever you are?
I would say it depends on, your goals, right? You can give somebody a hammer, but if they don't want to use it, it's just a tool, right? I would say, yeah, it really just depends on where they're at, what their goal is, and if you're trying to grow and build onto that one store, this is going to be that tool that helps you get organized and helps you exponentially.
Nick, what are some of the numbers you track daily? Like you're checking a couple of times a day. What are you looking at?
So on a regular basis, I'm looking at sales in general. I'm looking at versus last year and versus last week. I'm looking at guest count versus last year, last week, and I'm tracking sales per labor hour. Those analytics I'm very comfortable with, that keep me up to date with what's going on in the stores, whether we're hitting our goals, whether we're staffed correctly. And then if we are having a problem, just last month we were having an issue with crab meat. And it was a recipe that I programmed incorrectly. It was my fault. But we were doing daily inventory of crab meat to figure out where things were going. And it was simple enough to just find that what they were doing in the stores was correct, but what the recipe card said was wrong.
That's insightful because that can get out of hand really fast.
It can.
Like, especially with crab meat, that is expensive.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Well, this is and obviously this tool is beneficial and it can, really help an operator dial in on where they are versus where they want to be or where they think they should be. What's the, Leslie, how can they reach you and what's the best place to just to get started to learn more about the benefits of 365?
Yeah, no, 727-434-0289.
Said, call me. Okay.
Happy to answer any questions. No, yeah, restaurant365.com. Also, check us out and add me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to have a conversation with anybody. I would, love to bring the knowledge and help in any way that we can.
You had me dying laughing on LinkedIn when you said we're like, what did you call us? Step partners? Or
Step
something?
partners, yeah.
Step- that was
If you're
hilarious.
partners with, yeah, we partner with pretty much every POS, meaning we integrate with them. And then we also partner with a ton of bookkeepers and accountant companies. So we're really trying to bring everything all in one place and then help you manage in the best possible way that works for you because everybody's different, right? Like Nick is very much a numbers guy, it seems, and not everybody is a numbers person. A lot of operators are very, on the creative side, but they're still able to use our platform and to, get a lot of use out of it. It's, really just we're meeting people where they're at.
Nick, what's the wildest creation or wildest combination of items you guys have had to put together? Even going back to your server days. Like what was the wildest thing someone asked for in the shop?
I used to have a guy who would come in and order sangria and then a shot of Grey Goose, and then he would mix the two together, and
Slay.
he would put back 4 or 5 of those while he was there for dinner. For
Art sangria.
yeah, he was going to town. But from a food perspective, nothing really shocks me anymore. There's not. I'm trying to think off the top of my head.
What's your go-to?
Right now, it's probably the pesto sauce. I've been on a pesto kick lately.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's good. Although I know you're a pizza guy,
a little
so
bit.
we got these new pizza ovens in the store we opened a little over a year ago, and I am obsessed with the way the pizzas come out there. Like if I'm
What
in that store and I'm eating, I'm
Oh,
getting a pizza.
you doing a pizza over there? What is it? Did you do electric?
Yeah, it's an electric, and it looks like R2,
Oh man, yeah.
and it
Send me
makes
a
a pizza in 90 seconds.
which
wow.
which store was that? Is that the Boynton store?
No, that's the Wellington store on 44 on State Road 7.
I have to make my way over there when we venture down to South Florida. It's funny, we're all in Florida, but we're all like in different places right now.
Yeah.
But Leslie's a little closer to me. What's your so you're Pinellas, right?
Yes,
What's
I'm
your
St.
what
Petersburg.
go to pizza spot in St. Pete, or pizza order. We
Goodness.
don't have to call them out, but pizza order.
I'll call out a couple of them. I love my pizza people. Pizza Box is great. I also love Violet Stone, and they just moved, and they're literally right around the corner from me. I can ride my bike. And my pizza order, oh geez, it depends on the day. I'm very much a you know, decide when I read the menu at least 4 or 5 times. But I am a pineapple and ham Hawaiian pizza lover, as well as, the other, like, go-to would be, like, mushrooms and jalapenos, pepperonis,
I like
like,
that.
load it up.
Not very non-traditional, but still good.
It's what I like.
The pizza police will get you for saying pineapple.
I'm here for it. Cuff me.
I did a poll once. It was, what are the worst toppings, or tell me the toppings you'll never have on a pizza, and it was like overwhelmingly no pineapple and no anchovies. So of course we went into the shop the next day and we made pineapple and anchovy pizza for everybody to try, and it was no, don't do it.
No?
it,
I see, I
it
like
wasn't it
anchovies too.
wasn't terrible. It wasn't terrible, but it was a very unique combination.
Got the sweet and salty going.
Very salty and sweet. So maybe with less mozzarella just to take some salt out of it, but it was maybe like with a ricotta or something, but it was different. It was different. Very unique. I just talked to a guy recently. He said his go-to pizza was a pepperoni and green olives, and I'm like, I've never ever had green olives on a pizza. Like that one was interesting.
Hadn't had that
But
one either, but
they called it God's salt. What he called it.
God's
So
salt?
yeah, I challenge you all to
I like
try that.
that.
Try that. Tag me in it.
Okay.
Recent favorite is burrata on pizza. That's been
Mm.
delicious.
Yeah, yeah. Stracciatella is very very good. You topping it after?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. Good deal,
I
man.
like that
This
too.
this has been fun. Nick, how can people find you? Where's the most likely spot for them to run into Nick Eberhart?
You know, I like to say it's probably the original Wellington location. That's my stomping grounds. But I spend most of my time in Boynton Beach, so it, I'm all over the place.
Nice. And how can they find you? Or I'm sure you got social media pages, Instagram, Facebook, all those good things. How they
I'm
find
not
you?
a social media guy,
No?
but the restaurant has it.
Yeah.
Yeah, just Agliolio.com, Agliolio on Facebook. We got all 3 stores on there. If you reach out, the message will eventually get back to me.
He's like, you don't have time for that. You're busy. You're busy running the reports.
I'm busy doing 10 million other things.
No, this was a lot of fun. I appreciate both of you guys for coming on and sharing some insight. I remember when we met and you said, let's figure out a way to do it. I'm like, it can't be a sales pitch for 365. Let's talk to an operator and talk about what's really happening. I think you sold it better than anyone could ever sell it because it's real life. So thank you for that.
Yeah, thanks so much for having us, and thanks, Nick, for joining too. This is great.
Yeah, this
Thank
was
you.
this was really good. Thank you guys. Hang out 1 second.